Hi guys, it's Ray here from City Fan TV and a big game this weekend, which is why I've got a big personality in the house. We've got Natalie from, I'll let Natalie tell you herself who she is and where she's from. But remember, Natalie, I've only got 30 minutes, so be brief.
I'm Natalie, I'm from the Barmy Army. We're the Man United Women's Supporters Club. Basically, every game we've been at, definitely with City involved. This is the first one we've not been there, so we're the loud ones with the flags and the songs, going mad, basically, for it.
I'll agree with that. You're mad. I will agree with that. Look, let's talk about Man United women's team. They've had some previous incarnations going back to the 70s. There was a women's team, and then they've had the teams affiliated, and then when the Glazers came in, that disappeared. So you set up again in 2018. We've got to go through some of the history. You set up again in 2018. Why did it take so long? Why was it so late?
I think it's because, they said the money wasn't right. And obviously then 2015 World Cup happened, and obviously people then started to get more interested. The WSL was there, but I think it slowly started to get more professional. I think look at them now coming back through COVID, elite protocol kind of things. And I think obviously the year before the World Cup in 2019, they knew they were going to come into the WSL after that World Cup. And I think they just picked the perfect time to potentially bring it back. I know there was a lot of pressure from a lot of people. There was talk, even when they came back, they were, not concerned, but thinking, is this going to make money? I don't think they didn't want to make money. I think women's football, you've got to put a lot of money into it, and you probably don't get the same amount out of it.
Yeah.
But it's more than that. It's building that community. I think having equality for the boys and girls, for the fans. Everyone feels safe, whether it's at Old Trafford or LSV. You feel that same vibe. Anyway, I do. And that's just potentially why.
And look, I think we can all agree the Glazers are in there for the money, and they stopped back in the day because they wasn't making money. It was losing money, and now they can see some positive from their investment in terms of financial gain. And sadly, you can see from some of the suits at the FA, that's kind of how they treat the women's game even now. I've got to ask you, mainly because it's in the news and it's on this subject. Now, Megan Rapinoe, is the women's football icon. As a building site starts working again, she's a women's football icon, and she's come out with some comments. And if you don't know, she was, if I remember correctly, wasn't she the Player of the Year for the last 2 seasons?
Yeah, she won the World Cup, and then she was mainly in the thing. She said, I'm not going to the White House. She's very She's very forthright in her opinions and views. Some you might not agree with, some you might agree with. But she talked about Man United. So, I've got to talk about so far behind because of what we've had to overcome, lack of investment. It's 2020. How long has the Premier League been around? And we're only just seeing a club like Manchester United put effort and pounds towards a women's team. Frankly, it's disgraceful. Those are her comments. What can you argue against what she said, or have you got any argument? Well, obviously, you can't argue against it. What I'd say is, why is she just coming out with it now? Why weren't she coming out with it back then? Why weren't she coming out with it in the 2015 Olympics? We're here now. We're top of the league. We're investing. She's got 2 of her mates basically playing for us, and the way they talked about it, it wasn't no joke thing. You got teams like Liverpool who've just gone down, and they're Premier League champions. That would have been better. But we all know Man United. You say it makes waves. Real Madrid have just come in. No one's saying about that, but it's the biggest club. My captain as well, my second captain, well, he's still my first, Harry Maguire. People are talking about us because we're the biggest club in the world, and that's it.
But a big club having problems, people are going to talk about it. It's natural. It's going to create stories and news interest and all that. Next question. I will get to some positive stuff in a minute, I promise you. Leigh Sports Village. Now, you're playing at Leigh Sports Village, which is 15 miles away from Old Trafford. And I'm not sure if any of the Premier League clubs actually plays regularly off all their fixtures at the men's stadium. I think they all play further away, simply because
they don't attract the crowds. City play across the road. We're very fortunate at CFA, and our crowds are about 1,000, 1,500. So you're not going to use a 50-odd thousand seat stadium. So you're at Leigh Sports Village. It's, as I said, miles away, but you are due to move to the Cliff. Do you know when that's going to happen?
With the Cliff, I've heard different things. I don't know if we're definitely going to move there. I think in terms of playing and even facilities, I know that Casey and the girls, they prefer having their own facilities, so they don't want to share with the men or anything like that. They want their own, and that's what Leigh Sports Village is. For me, if we went to the Cliff to play, I've not been there and ever, but people tell me it's not the greatest. You wouldn't be able to put no stadium there. It'd be about 1,000 people, and yeah, it would be probably good. But for me, I think it's about growing it. I think when we have, one of our largest games was when we played you in the Conti Cup, and for me it was electric. It was, Jess scored that goal, every whole place went wild, and that was about 5,000 people there. So I think Leigh Sports Village is the best place for us. I mean, if we can eventually, who knows how long there's talk of them buying up land around Old Trafford. Who knows what they'll do with that? For example, they might have a little City Stadium. I know that they know it'll be better if we were there, because I think we'd get even more people down if we had it 2 meters away from Old Trafford.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. If City were playing, in Oldham or Rochdale, they wouldn't get as many fans as they do playing at the CFA. It's quite obvious. I mean, I've got to say, I did like my visit to the Leigh Sports Village. It was a really enjoyable experience. Food was nice. I had a few pies.
For me, I think it's a fantastic stadium. It's under soil heating. It's Desio grass. It's fantastic.
Well, the facilities.
The facilities are amazing, and I just think we're getting 2,000 people there regular. So people are saying, "Oh, this is far away." Yeah, it is far away, but we're getting 2,000 people. When we play City, when we play Liverpool, we're getting even more. So for me, I think when we start, now we're up there. I think if we had fans now, you see even more. I think you see a regular 3,000.
Well, you're top of the league. It's going to happen. I mean, last thing I'll say about Leigh Sports Village. I went to Villa Park last season to watch the men's teams play, and the facilities and the food and everything, it was chalk and cheese. I mean, Leigh Sports Village might be smaller, but it's a modern ground with modern facilities, nice clean toilets, good clean food. It was incredible. And you go to Villa, a club with a proud tradition and long history, and it was I can't say what it was on this channel. It's made for kids, this video. It was pretty dire. The facilities that they offered, the fans, the toilets, the food, and it felt like being caged underneath, and no space, and 2 people on the tills when there's tons of fans. And so big up to Leigh Sports Village. Let's move on. Last season, okay. Obviously, you came to in the second tier of English football. You got promoted. Last season, you finished 4th. Were you happy with last season?
100%. I mean, no one expects you to come up from the Championship, no matter how much we dominated, no matter how well we did in it, and just come and win the league like within year one. If anyone thought that, they were deluded, bit thinking in the stars. But for me, it was always about that top 3 is there. That top 3 is the level we want to be at. But let's just be the best of the rest. And I think we achieved that quite comfortably. I mean, there was Everton around, but I don't think anyone can really say that we didn't deserve 4th. Yeah. Like, we were the best. Look, I'm Freudian slip. We were the best of the rest. I just think now she's pushed on even more, Casey. And it's hard.
I want to ask you about that first game. Your first game, and you're playing City at the Etihad Stadium. Over, I think, 31,000 fans were there. I was there with my kids, my brother and his kids. It was a fantastic spectacle. It was a great game of football. I mean, you only lost by 1-0. You were in that game the whole 90 minutes, and it was fantastic. I mean, can you sum up how you felt? Your first game in the Super League at a derby and a ground like that. How did you feel?
Yeah, it was great. It was great as well. I liked it how we're was like a sea of red behind that goal, and it just felt special. It felt like we're here now, and I think the performance that we put in, even though we it was a wonder goal. It wasn't like, oh, so and so made a mistake, or oh, they did this, and no, they easily cut through us. It was a wonder goal from about 25 yards out that probably no one's saving. So for me, it was amazing. We had our chances. We should have probably scored. I'm sure they'll look back at it now, the girls, and say there was those two in the first half. There was the one that Jackie hit the post, and I thought it was in. And when we were the other side, so Jackie hit the post, the other net, and the way everyone jumped up because they thought it crossed the line. And I just think those are the moments. Made you think these are the moments that we want every time.
Yeah. Oh, believe me, we did laugh when you thought you'd scored, but that's the way. That's football. When you think you scored and you start cheering and it's not given. Obviously, the opposition fans laugh at you. Let's move on to. I want to ask you about your new signings. You mentioned them briefly before. You got some big name signings in the summer. So tell us a bit about them.
Preston Heath, isn't it? Those are obviously the ones that, when they came in, as soon as they came in, they started outselling like Bruno and Rashford with shirt sales. So it proves in a way Megan Rapinoe's point, and even they said it shows that their appetite is there. It shows that we're a fan base ready. I mean, all the USA stars are coming. I think yours has sold quite a lot, and Bronze has sold quite a lot. But yeah, it just shows the appetite for women's football, and for me, they're just settling in. They're just getting up to their best now. We've not even seen the best. Tobin just looks different levels, and now Press is getting up to that level. I mean, anyone who watched us play versus Arsenal, she was all over them. She was picking it up, twisting around, bicycle kicks, and you're thinking, boy, I've not seen this style of football in a while. But listen, I don't just want to talk about them two. Them two, obviously, the fantastic ones. Russo is absolutely different class. She is a number 9 that we have needed. Tall, pacey, the way she scored against West Ham, where she headed it into the back of the net. Everyone knows Leah Galton is fantastic at crossing, and her goal versus West Ham, Alessia Russo, go check it out. She's the future of English football. No, I'm being serious because, I know you've got Ellen White now and all this, but she's gonna be different.
Oh no, you got some fantastic.
And then obviously for me, the last one. I mean, there was more. There's Lucy Stan, who's absolutely fantastic, but on a battle. Spanish international, best fullback. Easy. I know you've signed 2 fullbacks, but no, I'm serious. This girl is different class. She's a terrier. The way she runs, she could cross the ball. No one gets past her. She was up against Beth Mead or I don't even know who else, but they weren't getting past her. Jill Rodd and all these superstars. Spanish international. So she's. I know you like the England boys,
I'll check her out.
Girls, but she's different class.
Personally, I'm a Demi Stokes fan. She's one of my favourite players at City. The effort she puts in and her skill. She used to be play up as a winger, I think, and now she's playing as a full back, and she's got that overall game to defend. She's got that pace. She's got that tenacity, that effort, that aggression. And she's got that skill to go up there, take people on, dribble past them, run past them with the pace, cross it. I'm a big Demi Stokes fan. So obviously we're going to talk about this season. I mean, you guys have done phenomenally well. You played 6 games. You had 5 wins and a draw. It was a draw against Chelsea. And you beat Arsenal, who were always up there. Arsenal, they scored tons of goals. But when they come up against the big teams, and they're supposed to be a big team themselves, they come up a bit short. So, look, there's no hiding from this. You've played 6 games. It's only a 22-game season. So we're past a quarter of the season gone, and you're top. Can you I know. I've seen you talking on social media. Can you sustain this all the way to the end of the season?
Yeah, why not? I don't understand why we couldn't. City have been dropping points around, and we've had this chat. Obviously, I agree with what you're saying about Arsenal. They score 8 against whatever, and then they don't turn up against the big teams. For me, I think it's Chelsea and United. I'm sorry, and people might get upset here. Why are you talking like this? You're only 3 years in, but like you say, quarter of the way through, that's how it's shaping up.
Well, there's no argument.
City will be there, but it's shaping up like the top 2 are going to be United and Chelsea. And for me, we just got to keep doing what we're doing. Yeah. This is a big game Saturday, but I'm not worried about us really in the big games. I think you can even get a draw maybe and it still be a good result because, it's going to be tough. I mean, we got a draw against Chelsea. No one expected that. And that was before all these players came in, you know what I mean? So for me, people say Chelsea are going to win it. Why are you saying that? But no.
You're a good side. Chelsea are a good side. City are decent, but I'm not sure we're decent enough yet. So you talked about your star players, but there's someone you've not mentioned so far because she wasn't a new signing. And I'm going to mention her because, if I'm right, she won an award quite recently. My good friend, Lauren James.
My good friend.
Yeah, I'll be sticking a picture of me and Lauren on... When you actually see this edited, there'll be a picture of me and Lauren on the screen there.
Lauren, man.
That game at the City last season.
Yeah.
So tell me about Lauren James. What's she?
Lauren,
18 or
19 now. 19, just 19. Just the other week, couple of weeks ago. Different class. Last year we relied on her too much, I think. She was only 18, 17, 18. We relied on her too much. It was, if Lauren doesn't score, we're screwed. Now this year it's bringing Lauren on, and she was part of the goal, the build up to our goal, And now it's build Lauren on, bring Lauren on, develop her. God, she's playing with Press and Heath now, Russo, yes, she's injured, but she's got experience from America. All the levels have gone up, so it's only going to be beneficial for someone like Lauren. I want to mention as well your little one. Well, she's always been red. Ella Toon, different class. I mean, obviously, I know you had her for a bit. I've seen little things people say, "Oh, she'll come back." Listen, she's red, born right through, and she was playing wing, I think, at City and Blackburn. But number 10, that's her role. She's the space she can get into, the pockets, the shot from the edge of the box. If anyone saw that goal
against Arsenal,
yeah, she is. When she first came in 2018, yes, she didn't have probably a lot of minutes in it. And I think that was the best thing that we've done. I know there was a lot of talk when we went into the championship, but I think it gave people like Lauren, Ella, Millie, gave all these young ones time. Hansen, even who played versus Arsenal, it gave them time to develop. Leah Galton, who come back from football, was going to retire. For me, it was a masterclass by the club, by Casey, whoever decided it, probably Casey. To go into that championship, build you side up, get a development between all the players, and then she's just added in little world-class players as she's gone along. Hayley Ladd, Jackie Gronin, that's what we had last year. Obviously, we had another one of yours, Abby Mack. She didn't play, but, solid defender. And I think, that's just what she's doing. And now, obviously, she's added the big names. But like I said, it's more the Russo and... on a battle that, probably would go under the radar compared to the American ones, but they're the just touches of quality, extra bright sparks. And for me, I think, you look at a team, maybe say like City or even like West Ham or something. I'm not comparing the two in the women's game, but you get a lot of ins and outs maybe. I mean, I know 19, you had a lot of outs. Who's that one that's just gone to America? She was Pauline Bremer, someone like that. Could have
Pauline Bremer.
Germany. Someone like that, if you could have kept and built it and,
Yeah, really disappointing.
Whereas maybe you just let a lot go and let a lot come in.
Yeah, disappointing to lose Pauline Bremer. Sadly, she's got a knee injury, I think, a cruciate injury. So once again, we wish her well. Very briefly, I'm going to move on to your manager, Casey. And it's Casey Stone.
Stoney.
Sorry?
Stoney.
You've got to be careful when you look on social media because there's another Casey Stoney and he's a motorcycle rider. So I'm sending him messages by mistake. But anyway, give us a little bit, very briefly, about Casey and what she's done to make this team into title challengers this season.
She's controlling that whole club. If you look at Man United of old, we had Alex Ferguson, top to bottom. He was the man running it, and she's doing it exactly the same. For me, it's that mentality that she's bringing, that winning mentality, that Man United, that never give up, that never say die. She's bringing the youth through. She's, I think it's the way she talks as well. They listen. She's done it before. She's won everything. So when a young player, 18, 19, looks at her and she says, do it this way because you'll win, she's got that thing to back it up. And I think that's what gives her a lot of clout as well, even from the older ones. They say she knows how it feels as a player because she's been one.
She's got that credibility.
Yeah. And I think that
sorry.
And I think what she's done, though, the best thing, because when I see it makes me realise this is the real deal, the team unity. I'm not saying that other teams don't have it, but them girls will go out there and fight for every single one of them. It's a family. It's not just we're teammates, we go home, we've got a family at home. Yeah, they've got their own individual families, but that is the family. When you step on the pitch, they miss each other, they fight for each other. When one goes, the other goes, and she's really drilled that into them. And it's about the whole team, not just the 11 people on the park.
Absolutely. Going to move on quickly onto the game. Obviously, there's no fans there. How much of a difference do you think it makes having no fans?
I think it's massive. We lost recently to Liverpool, and I think that affected it a bit, because I think a derby game, the spice, the atmosphere that it adds, you see them putting in tackles extra harder because the fans, it'll raise the roof, I think they're slowly getting used to it, us anyway. For us, I think we make a big impact on them. We're their 12th player. I know people say it's cliche, and they are hearing them say it's cliche, but I think we are that 12th player, and God, we miss it. They miss us, but I know that they're doing it, and I know that they know we're watching at home, and it's a derby. That's all it is, isn't it? Now it's. I think they know what it means to both sets of fans, and I suppose they'll want us, and your guys will want you to go in and be able to come back on this podcast and say, Manchester's red, and you want to say to me, Manchester's blue, and.
I just see the game panning out then, and ask you that and get a score prediction. How do you think the game's going to go?
I think it's going to be tough. I think it's going to be a lot tougher than Arsenal, like you say. I think once Arsenal, they do sort of roll over for you a bit. I don't think City are going to do that. I think your best signing for me has been Mewis. Is Sam Mewis, yeah. And that's where I'm going to be a bit worried. I think there was times versus Arsenal, our defence, it was easy for them to get through the midfield. So I think that's where we need to be strong. I think Hayley Ladd and Jackie Cronin and Katie Zellum, or even if Ella Toon, I think potentially she might get man-woman marked, I don't know. But it all depends, because I saw some of your goals against Bristol. Obviously you won't get a time like that. But then there was that little mistake, and I think we need to be clinical on these. Any chance that we get, we need to be scoring it. I think we could have been 3-4 up against Arsenal, but we didn't take them. And I think against City, we're more likely to get punished if we don't. So, for me, it's going to be tough. I'd take a draw, because no one's, City are a big side. City have won it before. City know how to win these games. I think we can win. Don't doubt that we're not going to win, and I knew we'd win versus Arsenal in a way. Well, yeah, like we said about them. But I'd take a draw. But if it's a 2-1 United, happy days.
Obviously you'll take a win, but I think a draw would be a good result actually for United. City have got to go there, and we've got to win. I don't think there's any question about it. We've already lost to Chelsea. We had 2 draws to. Brighton was a really poor result. They're going to struggle this season. Reading, at least they're in the top half of the table. They're mid-table. They're not a poor team, Reading. I think they finished 5th or 6th last season. So they're a good side, a good enough side. But we didn't show enough. So we've dropped 7 points. You guys have only dropped 2. If we lose to you, that's it. I think it's extremely difficult for City to come back against United if we're going to be 8 points behind you and 8 points behind Chelsea, let's say. And there's only
whatever, 16 or 14 games to go. It's really tough to come back from that. A draw, I still think that's not good enough for City. City have got to win it somehow. And I think for me, Sam Ewis is crucial. It's what Sam does. She's incredible. She's like a giant amongst those players. You know, she's a bit taller than most of them anyway. But the strength and the power that she's got and the control and that calmness as well to control that midfield. It's a shame for us that Lauren Hemp, I don't think she's going to be around. She's been injured since I think the Community Shield against Chelsea. I think she's a big miss. Initially, we didn't think we'd miss it because you think we got so many other good players. Chloe Kelly come in and she did well, but I think just not having Lauren Hemp, she's got that X factor. She's got that little bit extra, and it's a shame we haven't got her. But I think it's going to be a tight game. Obviously, I've got to go for City, but like you say, I think it's going to be a really, really tight game. I'm going to go. Will we keep you out? I'll go 1-0 City. Got to do it. You got to back your team. I mean, here's you, Natalie. You're saying you'll take a draw. I say no. I'm backing my team. Whatever happens, whether we win, lose, or whatever, I'm going to go for a City win 1-0. Whatever happens, I think it's going to be a tight game. It's a real draw.
I think we're going to win. I take a draw. I think we're going to win now.
All right, fair enough. It's a real pain that we're not going to be there. Because it would be an immense game. The game we played with you guys at Leigh Sports Village last season was incredible. I think we won 3-2. It was a fantastic day out. It was a fantastic game of football. Great experience, and it's a shame we'll have to watch it on the telly. But I'm sure we'll still shout as loud when we're watching it on the telly as we do in the ground. That's what my neighbours tell me. Natalie, I've got to say, massive thanks for coming on today.
All right.
It's been really good talking to you. We've stayed under that 30 minutes target that we said. I've got 2 stopwatches here, right? I've got 2 stopwatches, and you've talked for 26 minutes, and I've talked for 3. So what we expect, you dominated again, Natalie.
Same again on Saturday.
And no chance. No, I think City will have more possession, but some of that will just be passing it around at the back, which really is frustrating. But Natalie, I hope it's a good game. Everybody comes back safe and sound, and may the best team win.
Yep. See you later. Thanks for having me on.
No worries.